Hey, it's Gina Casserola here, and I'm here with a brand new episode coming straight to you right now. I just got a lot of things on my mind. I just came from a walk. I like to let things saturate and marinate in my brain, because I got a lot of things to think about, a lot of things that are stressing me out right now as I'm adapting to new roles and new positions that I put myself into and new expectations. And I like to read the news. I like to read articles. I like to get a sense of where the world is heading, and am I in alignment, or am I separating and creating my own path? And most of the time, I don't know, but that's okay. But I came across this article today about a poop company. This poop company said microbiomes for poop and vaginal stuff. It's, nitty gritty. It sounds gross, but we all have these situations at times where we trust our gut, right? Like we're supposed to trust our gut, and then that's supposed to indicate our health status. Now, I've talked to many dental hygienists as well, and not specific about this topic, but somewhat about this topic. And a lot of dental hygienists say, hey, your mouth actually tells you what's good for you, because that goes there before it goes into your gut and before you take it out of your system. So what you do is your teeth is kind of indicates your status of your health, and so does your gut and your poop. I remember in high school we had to go ahead and we had to dissect out poop, and then we had to figure out, was it poop or was it vomit? Either the case, we had to go check it out. We had to check it out. We had to go ahead and figure out what was in their system. And so what people do these days is they tell you what you want to hear. They say a lot of key phrases, and they let you know, like, hey, you're eating something, this is making it bad for you, you should stop eating that thing, which is kind of logical. If something doesn't taste right, don't keep on eating it, even if it's, to be polite. Like, I remember one time I was talking to cousin Tina Lasagna, and no, Tina Linguini, I got confused with Tina Lasagna sometimes, but Tina Linguini, she just was like, so I gotta eat this, and you gotta eat this because you're gonna insult a family. And it was like a whole thing. But honestly, sometimes you gotta say, with all due respect, I enjoy this meal. It's just not an agreement with me. And then maybe you can tweak your recipe, or maybe that's one way you can handle it. I'm getting off track here. So this lady and her husband, they were selling some people, like, hey, we're going to do all these tests and we're going to let you know, hey, based off your poop samples, because people, you would have to scoop your poop or put it into a little sample and send it to them, and then they would go ahead and test it, and they were lying. They weren't doing that. They weren't saying where their stuff was fun, but they were getting TED Talks, large investments. And I'm just wondering, like, why do you think that at some point you're not going to get caught, How long do you think you can do that? Like, remember that Theranos chick who's like super rich and she wanted to be like Steve Jobs, wore the black turtlenecks and stuff? Like, she kept on like pretending she was Thomas Edison, or had like these kids and lying and using other types of things like printers to pretend they were labs. It was a whole mess. And she's still not convicted, and she swindled tons of people, and people who are working for her who are specialists and engineers and whatnot, and they were like, this isn't, like, anybody with basic like science knows this isn't real, but people like the ideas. Sometimes, sounding good is better than actually providing what actually is good. So I just say, you gotta trust your gut. And something doesn't seem right, you gotta stand up for yourself. It's just like, you can't just keep on going. Like, if you got an upset tummy, right, and you are like eating more food that isn't tasting good to you, like, why do you keep on adding more stuff to it? Why don't you go ahead and say, hey, give the stomach time to rest? That's what you should be doing. Like, people don't always remember this. And I remember back in the bowling alley days, when I was growing up outside Chicago, yeah, we like they all these guys would be like, words are words, but actions are cemented, and then we're the champs. Like that's how it happens. So like I just think that like okay, I just think that we all kind of need to actually get our bearings at times, and we need to go ahead and figure out what we actually need and what we actually want. And if you want to believe in something that doesn't necessarily make sense or doesn't have the facts to support it, and you just see a bunch of words that have a couple key ones, like I remember back in the day when I was figuring things out, I was trying out for this job, and they were like, hey, let's give you a tour of the factory. And I was like, this looks fake. It looked like, one of those Office Space corporate parks, Office Space, the movie, the good one, not the TV show, The Office Space. When the guy didn't want to work and he wanted to play Tetris, that guy, he was like, I'm working for other people, supporting their dreams. Why am I doing that? That movie? Well, so I went to one of these office parks here back in Chicago. And it didn't seem like anybody was working. And then, lo and behold, a year later, everybody got busted because it wasn't a real company. They said they were doing Ebola testing, and they weren't. They're like, hey, you can invest in us. We'll get you set up with our stockbrokers. Sometimes it's just they prey on people who are uninformed. And people who are rich are just as uninformed, but they have more money so they can play with. They're like, well, I'll take a risk. I'll try to do it. But they don't really necessarily know what they're doing. They're just like, well, that sounds like a good investment. I'm going to invest in it. But doesn't mean they know that they're investing in something real or unreal. And I think things you got to do to have a good investment is you got to put the time and energy into things to figure out, is this a good investment? Whether it's for something, for instance, there's this pal I got. He's got a writing gig, and he writes these articles. People say, hey, we want to pay you. You write this article, right? Sounds like a good deal, right? Sounds legit. Sounds like it's going to be smooth sailing. We want you to write this about our business. Well, he doesn't ask the right questions, He don't ask, hey, what topic do you want me to discuss about your business? Because your business is multifaceted. There's different avenues I could take. What do you want me to emphasize? You have to gather the data, You can't just go ahead and throwing things out there willy-nilly and be like, well, I think that's in the right area. What's wrong with asking? The worst thing they could say is like, I expect you to know that. And then you'd be like, well, I expect you to give me an idea, because most people don't know what they want. And that's a real fact, man. Most people don't know what they want until they see somebody else have what they want. Doesn't mean they know what they want. Even if they have what they want, they don't know if they really want it anymore because they already got it. It's all trippy. This is what I say, because I grew up in a bowling alley. That's where I got my ins and outs, okay? I saw human behavior in its finest moments and lowest moments and adorable moments and very terrifying moments. And I gotta tell ya, gutter balls, they're okay. That means, I wasn't lining up. I wasn't paying attention. It's basic physics. You can think about it a lot, or you can think very little about it. You can trust your gut. You can practice your form, or you could just let it rip, Now, sometimes people would be insulted if I asked them, hey, you want a bumper? And they're like, I don't need no bumper, okay? I'm 12 years old. I don't need no bumper. It's like, well, you know what? Why do you have to think that you can't use a bumper? A bumper is not a bad thing. It doesn't take away from your skill set here. If you go and use the bumper, that helps gain your focus. Don't hit the bumpers. If you keep on using the bumpers to get it back into the lane, then you know what? You suck at bowling. That's what it's about, If you go ahead and you say, hey, this is what's going to help me use my blinders, see what I'm going to do. This doesn't reflect on my skill set. It only encourages me to be sharper in my skill set. And I have my parameters, so I don't have to go back and forth or feel like I have to go back and learn new other things, Because sometimes you don't need to learn new stuff if you lock down what you already know. Anyways, I gotta go soon because, I got a lot more working out to do, and I got more ideas to take, and I also have to catch up on Shark Tank. I think it's a good episode this week. They got They got the guy from the Kind Bars on this week. I'm pretty excited about that. He's not my favorite one, but he's also like, he's pretty good. He's a pretty good guy. Anyways, this has been Gina Casserole with the Bowling Ball Diet Podcast. Thank you. Peace.